Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Yes, I know it's been a while, but I'm back for the time being. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Independence update. The update that added the long-awaited Independence track, on which I made a video a while ago. First of all, I apologize for not making a video on this when the update first released. And that's because there was some stuff going on and I wasn't really doing things with Project Trackday at that time. But just like this update, better late than never. So first let's take a look at the changelog. Now at the day that I'm recording this, there has been another update, but that hasn't been shown in the changelog yet. Version 7.2.0, a new track based in the streets of Toronto, Canada. If you watched my previous video on Independence, then you know that the location is not based on Toronto actually. So they added the Independence street circuit, fixed the bug where the intro camera would get stuck in a certain situation. This was something that happened on Fuji where the camera would get stuck on one point and yeah, that got fixed. Added a livery to the FRC2, the GP2 car. The Red Bull GP #21, also known as Roadsteer, which is German, which is the literal German translation for Red Bull. Internal housekeeping changes to prepare for future updates. So yeah, basically preparations for upcoming updates. So yeah, let's take a look at the update itself. So the Independence track is the first track you see on the menu. I would have expected it to be some between Hockenheim and Monza, since it begins with an I. But hey, if it comes first, then it's not a big deal. So yeah, this is the Independence street track. First thing you see, of course, all these buildings. Several of these have been in teasers already. So yeah, here we spawn in the garage. It's really nice, big garage with a lot of space. There's also a huge space behind here because I've seen people do drag races back here. You can also get here with some of the cars. So yeah, I believe we have spawned at the end of the pit lane. Let's first take a look at the new livery before we take a look at the track itself. So that's this one, the Roadsteer. I believe it should say Roadsteer #21, but I assume that they just forgot to put that there. Oh. So taking a look at this livery has been around for a while. It just never got added until now. And it looks pretty good. It's of course based on a Red Bull. Quality isn't the highest, as you can see. You can't even make out what this says. Maybe if you recognize the logo, you could say it. It's not that big of a deal. When you're driving, you're not going to focus on how good you can, how easy it is to read whatever this says, or this red cola, which is I believe the debranded name for Coca-Cola. Overall, I like this livery. Nice colors. Now you sort of have a Red Bull livery to go alongside the Ferrari or Prema livery, which is also on the GP2 car. Now before I drive around the track, I'm going to just quickly go into free cam and just highlight some of the parts of this track. So the pit lane is pretty wide. It doesn't look the greatest, honestly, because there's no actual pit boxes here. You don't really have a pit box to drive into. Then again, this is a fictional track, so yeah. I really like the detailing on all these buildings. And the starting grid, there's currently also a bug here where the starting lights actually don't work. They're just stuck on the red lights, or perhaps on yellow lights in some cases. Depends on the server, I assume. One of my main issues with this track is that it doesn't really feel like a street circuit. Although it's a street circuit, it doesn't really look the best. Like it just randomly cuts off the road here. So I'm not really a big fan of how this looks because it looks more like the track was first made and then the streets were attached to it. And here you can also see it like, okay, it's been on a bit, but it could still use some improvement on how this is made. Like I would expect the yellow lines to continue, or at least some kind of lines. But yeah, it doesn't look the worst. One thing I like a lot about this track is all of the advertisement signs. Like you got this one with the Porsche, and this one with the Japanese one with the Nissan, promoting Midnight Racing Tokyo, which is pretty cool. A little bit of a crossover between the two games. And then also here we have what is probably the slowest turn in the entirety of Project Trackday, this hairpin. Very similar to the Monaco hairpin. There's also a sign for Mazda. Not sure how this is going to work once the Mazda in-game has been debranded, but okay. And here the Halal Habib bedroom thing. Habib is the name for one of the developers. The Sundown Cafe, a reference to Sundown, who's also a developer for this game. And here is another one of those advertisement boards, several actually. Another Midnight Racing Tokyo one, and I like this one, Bacon Driver. All it takes is a couple Robux. I like this one. Like an action movie advertisement or something. Some police cars. It's pretty cool. It's a street track, and yeah, it has some things from some references to Midnight Racing Tokyo. I like that. Now it's time to take a look at the track itself. As per usual, I'm going to be doing this with the Ford GT, because it's my go-to car whenever there's a new track. Granted, I have already driven a lot around this track, so yeah, there's no runoff area, which also means that there's barely any corner cuts around the track. Like there's literally only one place where you can get a corner cut, which is around this corner. Like I said, this is the slowest corner. You need to go into first gear here, and if you go to this middle section here, you'll actually get a corner cut. The only other way to get a corner cut is by driving through the pits. Yeah, I like this track. You got a lot of tight corners with some curves here and there. Also, there's a lot of high-speed corners, which means like you don't need to brake for these corners. So cars with a lot of downforce, with good downforce and grip, will be able to take these corners a lot faster than if you don't have much downforce, in which case you'll be going into the wall. It is also the second shortest track in the game right now, shorter than Hockenheim, but longer than Tsukuba, of course. And there are no brake signs with like numbers, like the other tracks have with 100 or 150. Instead you have these yellow signs that say slow, which basically let you know that there's a corner coming. But it's not as good as with the number system that normal tracks use. If you take a bit of time, then you'll just learn this track on the top of your head. Overall, pretty fun track. It's not my personal favorite, but it's pretty cool, and it was. I'm not sure if I would say it was worth the wait, since we waited way too long for this, but it's a lot of fun. And if you haven't driven it already, which I assume you have, considering this video goes up like 4 months after it was released, if you haven't driven it already, you should definitely give it a try, especially if you like street tracks. I would say that this is probably the closest we'll ever get to Monaco in the game, because I'm pretty sure the developers don't plan on adding it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!